Your Rivian R2 reservation might not be for the vehicle you actually think you reserved. That changes everything. When Rivian first revealed the R2, the internet collectively lost its mind in the best possible way. Nobody expected that price point combined with that level of capability and design quality. $45,000 for something that actually looked and felt like a Rivian was a genuinely shocking number to most people. The EV space had been waiting for an affordable adventure vehicle that didn't feel like a compromise product. And the R2 checked every single box on paper. Premium design, serious off-road capability, and a price regular buyers could actually consider without financial stress. But here's the thing nobody is really talking about loudly enough. The R2 you reserved and the R2 being built right now are not the same vehicle anymore. Rivian has made significant changes to production plans, features, battery technology, and even where the vehicle is physically being manufactured. Some changes are genuinely exciting and improve the vehicle in real ways. Others feel like quiet removals with zero explanation, zero roadmap, and zero acknowledgement that early reservation holders were promised something different. That deserves an honest conversation. So let's have it. Let's go through everything that has changed, what it actually means, and whether the R2 is still worth the excitement it generated at reveal. When Rivian first unveiled the R2, they had a very specific manufacturing plan in place. A brand new dedicated facility in Georgia was supposed to be the home of R2 production. That Georgia facility represented a massive investment and a long-term commitment to scaling the R2 and R3 platforms together under one roof. It was a serious, ambitious plan for a company still finding its production footing. But plans in the automotive world rarely survive contact with reality unchanged, and Rivian's Georgia timeline was no exception to that rule. Scaling a new factory from zero while simultaneously launching a new vehicle is an enormous operational risk. So Rivian made a smart pivot. Instead of waiting for Georgia to come online, they shifted R2 production to their existing plant in Normal, Illinois. That decision alone changed the delivery timeline dramatically. Normal, Illinois is where Rivian already builds the R1T and R1S. The infrastructure, the workforce, and the institutional knowledge are already in place there. Using it for R2 was the logical move. Scaringe has been actively posting production updates showing that the Normal facility is on schedule and ramping up for the first half of 2026 deliveries. The energy coming from those updates feels genuinely optimistic. And one of the most interesting details from those production updates is the manufacturing method Rivian is using for the R2 body structure. They are using massive high-pressure die casting technology. 3 large castings in the rear section alone are replacing approximately 50 individually stamped parts. Those 50 parts previously required over 300 separate weld points to assemble correctly. Eliminating that complexity is not just a speed improvement. It also means fewer potential failure points, better structural consistency, and improved build quality at scale compared to traditional stamping methods. This is the same general approach Tesla popularized with their GigaPress technology, and the results in that application proved it works well at volume. Rivian applying it here is a meaningful signal. Construction for part storage, the paint shop, and final assembly areas at the Normal facility is already well underway. The physical build-out is happening in parallel with the production ramp, which shows serious commitment. Rivian plans to produce around 155,000 R2 units annually at the Normal plant through 2028. After that, production will shift to the Georgia facility as originally planned for the longer term. Once Georgia comes fully online, both the R2 and R3 platforms will scale to 200,000 units per year each at that facility. That is a significant production volume by any reasonable measure. Now let's talk powertrains, because this section of the R2 story actually got more interesting after the reveal, not less. 3 distinct powertrain configurations are confirmed for the R2 lineup. The entry configuration is a single-motor rear-wheel drive setup. For most daily drivers and people prioritizing efficiency and affordability above all else, this will be the right choice. Above that sits a dual-motor all-wheel drive variant. This gives you better traction, better performance, and more confidence in mixed weather or light off-road situations where one motor simply isn't enough. Then at the top of the lineup comes the tri-motor configuration. Two motors in the rear and one up front creates a level of torque vectoring and off-road capability that is genuinely serious hardware. The tri-motor R2 is not a performance gimmick dressed up with adventure marketing. Real torque vectoring through dedicated rear motors is how you actually handle difficult terrain with precision and control. That capability in a vehicle starting at $45,000 for the base version represents something the EV market has genuinely never seen before at this price band. That part of the story is legitimately exciting. Battery technology is also seeing a meaningful change from what was originally planned. Rivian is moving away from Samsung's LFP cylindrical cells that were part of earlier discussions. The R2 will now use 4695 format NMC cylindrical cells sourced from LG Energy Solution. These are larger format cells that offer better energy density compared to what was previously in the plan. LG is building a brand new manufacturing facility in Arizona specifically to produce these cells. The timing of that plant coming online aligns closely with Rivian's R2 production ramp schedule. The practical result of this battery switch is meaningful for buyers. Long-range trims of the R2 are expected to deliver over 300 miles of real-world range on a full charge. The entry-level single-motor trim will likely land at a lower range figure, but the pricing on that variant is where the genuine mass-market accessibility for the R2 really lies. That balance matters. LFP chemistry has real advantages in longevity and charging behavior, but NMC offers better energy density in the same physical space. For a vehicle prioritizing range and packaging efficiency, NMC makes sense here. Now let's talk about what made it into production and what quietly disappeared. This is where the conversation gets a little more uncomfortable and a little more important for reservation holders. Several features confirmed at the original reveal are still making it to the production vehicle. The powered rear glass hatch is confirmed and still on the vehicle as originally shown to the world. The front trunk, which Rivian calls the frunk, is confirmed and still part of the package. Usable front storage is a feature that once you have it, going back feels like a genuine loss. The tow hitch is confirmed. For an adventure-focused SUV in this price range, that is a genuinely important capability that keeps the R2 honest as a utility vehicle and not just a lifestyle product. The charge port has been repositioned to the rear driver's side of the vehicle. That single change makes a meaningful real-world difference when pulling into a supercharger or any standard charging station layout. Driver's side rear placement means the cable naturally reaches the charger without awkward stretching, draping over the vehicle, or requiring you to back in at an uncomfortable angle. Small detail, big daily impact. So those confirmations are solid, but now here is where it gets genuinely disappointing for people who reserved early based on specific features that were prominently featured at the original reveal event. The rear seats do not fold completely flat. That was a significant selling point in early press materials, and was specifically highlighted as something that set the R2 apart from conventional SUVs. Rivian's explanation is that the revised seat design provides better lateral support and improved daily driving comfort for both rear passengers. That is a legitimate engineering trade-off, but it still stings. If you were planning to use the R2 for van lifestyle sleep setups or extended camping where a flat-load floor matters, this change directly impacts your use case in a meaningful and frustrating way. It is still possible to sleep in the R2 with some creative padding and layering, but the clean, flat, purpose-built sleep surface that was shown and marketed is no longer part of what you are getting. The accessory port is another feature that has quietly vanished with zero official explanation from Rivian. At the reveal, this port was shown powering various modular gear and accessories in exciting ways. Some enthusiasts even speculated it could eventually charge Rivian's growing micro-mobility product lineup, which would have been a genuinely clever ecosystem integration move for the brand. That potential is now gone. Credit to Chris Hilbert for first noticing the port had been removed from the official Rivian website entirely. It disappeared quietly, without a statement, without a reason, and without an alternative offered. Rivian has said nothing publicly about why the accessory port was removed, or whether any equivalent functionality might return in a future update or trim level. The silence is frustrating for legitimate reasons. When a brand builds excitement around specific features and then removes them without explanation, it creates a trust problem with early adopters who made reservation decisions partly based on those features. That matters. These are not minor aesthetic tweaks. The flat seats and the accessory port were features that made the R2 feel genuinely different from every other compact SUV in this category and price range. Without them, the R2 moves slightly closer to conventional. It is still a very good vehicle by any measure. But the feeling of clever originality that made early reservation holders so passionate gets slightly diluted. Now let's talk about demand, because those numbers tell an important story about where the R2 sits in the broader EV market landscape right now. The interest level has been remarkable. Rivian received 68,000 reservations within the first 24 hours after the R2 reveal event. That number alone signals genuine consumer appetite for an affordable Rivian at a scale the company had not previously seen. By July of last year, Rivian confirmed the reservation number had grown to well over 100,000. That is the last official update the company has provided publicly on the reservation count since then. Production remains on schedule for the first half of 2026 delivery window. The online configurator that allows buyers to select trims and options is expected to open in the latter part of 2025. Over 100,000 reservations against a production capacity of 155,000 annual units means early reservation holders are in a genuinely good position relative to the production ramp timeline. That is reassuring context. For anyone sitting deep in the queue, the first half of 2026 deliveries will likely serve the earliest reservation holders. Broader availability will expand as normal production scales, and eventually Georgia comes online. Now here is what has not changed, and why the R2 still deserves every bit of genuine excitement it originally generated despite the features that have quietly been adjusted or removed along the way. Rivian is still targeting that $45,000 starting price for the base single-motor rear-wheel drive configuration. Holding that price point through all these engineering and manufacturing changes is not a trivial achievement. The design is still unmistakably Rivian. The R2 does not look like a generic compact SUV with an electric badge slapped on it. It carries genuine Rivian DNA in every design line and proportional decision. Honestly, comparing it visually to the refreshed Tesla Model Y, the R2 holds up extremely well. In this writer's opinion, it actually looks better than what Tesla presented with their recent update. The R2 rides on a completely new platform that is shared with the upcoming R3. Platform sharing at that scale means future software improvements, hardware updates, and feature additions can benefit both vehicles simultaneously. The tri-motor variant represents off-road capability at a price point that has never existed before in the electric vehicle segment. That alone keeps the R2 in a category of its own competitively. Scaringe even teased publicly that Launch Green, one of the most beloved original Rivian colors, might make a comeback on the R2. That kind of detail signals Rivian understands what its community actually cares about. The possibility of Compass Yellow also returning was floated. Those color options carried enormous emotional weight for early Rivian fans, and bringing them back would be a genuine gift to the community. At its core, the R2 still represents something the EV market genuinely needed. An adventure-capable, well-designed electric vehicle from a brand with real off-road credibility at an actually accessible price point. No other automaker is offering that specific combination right now. Ford's electric options have faced their own struggles. GM's affordable EVs have not captured the adventure vehicle imagination the same way. The R2 fills a gap that exists in the market for buyers who want Rivian's identity, Rivian's capability, and Rivian's design language without stretching into R1S territory financially. That gap is real and significant. But here is the honest assessment that early reservation holders deserve to hear clearly. The vehicle you reserved based on the reveal presentation has changed in ways that were never formally communicated. Flat folding rear seats and the accessory port were not small footnote features. They were prominently shown, actively marketed, and specifically drove excitement among a certain subset of reservation holders who planned around them. Rivian removing those features without a formal statement, a compensating addition, or even a simple acknowledgement sets a concerning precedent for how the brand communicates with its most loyal early customers. The people who placed reservations in the first 24 hours are Rivian's biggest advocates. They are the ones posting in forums, sharing news articles, and convincing their friends to consider the brand seriously. Treating that group with silence on significant feature changes is a mistake that Rivian should correct before deliveries begin. A clear, honest explanation would go a long way toward maintaining that trust. That said, the manufacturing story is genuinely impressive and deserves recognition. The die-casting approach, the ELG battery partnership, the Illinois production pivot to hit 2026 timelines, these are smart operational decisions. Rivian is making hard engineering trade-offs under real production pressure and financial constraints. Not every original concept feature survives contact with manufacturing reality. And that is true across the entire automotive industry. The question is not whether changes were made. Changes always get made between reveal and production. The question is how a brand communicates those changes to the people who trusted them early. On that specific front, Rivian has room to improve significantly before the first R2 rolls out of the Normal, Illinois facility and into the hands of someone who has been waiting over a year. If you are sitting on an R2 reservation right now, here is the practical picture as clearly as it can be stated, based on everything that is publicly known about where this vehicle stands. You are getting a well-built, adventure-capable electric SUV with genuine Rivian-designed DINA, strong powertrain options, a competitive starting price, and a production timeline that appears to be on track for mid-2026. You are not getting flat-folding rear seats. You are likely not getting the accessory port. And you are getting a battery configuration that is actually superior to what was originally planned. So that part is a genuine win. The platform underneath the R2 is strong. The manufacturing approach is modern. The powertrain options are compelling. The design remains distinctive. The price target has held. Those are the fundamentals that matter most. Whether the removed features were deal breakers for your specific use case is a personal decision only you can make with full knowledge of how you actually plan to use the vehicle day to day. For buyers who prioritized adventure aesthetics, Rivian credibility, off-road capability, and value, the R2 still delivers on those promises with real conviction. The core case for the vehicle remains genuinely intact. For buyers who specifically planned around flat rear seats for camping, or who were deeply excited about the accessory port ecosystem potential, the current production spec is a more complicated and honest conversation. The R2 is still one of the most compelling electric vehicles scheduled to reach buyers in 2026. The segment it targets has no direct competitor offering this combination of brand identity and accessible pricing. But it deserves honest scrutiny precisely because it generated so much genuine excitement. High expectations and a passionate community mean every change gets noticed, every omission gets felt, and every silence gets questioned. Rivian still has time before deliveries begin to communicate more clearly about what changed, why it changed, and what the long-term roadmap looks like for features that did not make the initial production cut. That communication would cost nothing and would mean everything to a community that has been waiting patiently, advocating loudly, and holding reservations through more than a year of updates, changes, and quiet removals. The adventure is still out there. The R2 is still coming. And for most people with reservations, it is still worth the wait. But Rivian owes its community a more honest conversation before those first deliveries happen. Are you still holding your reservation after everything that has changed? Or are some of these updates giving you genuine second thoughts about staying in line? Drop your honest take in the comments below.